Evening everyone, welcome to Borofantv and the Monday Night Show here. This week, different location, we're down at the barrage, just something a little bit different. Joined again by the lads here. Welcome to the show again, boys.
Thank you very much.
So, got the season underway. I've got loads to fit in tonight in 30 minutes. Kicked off with a rather fortunate point, I should say, on Saturday at Millwall, which didn't look like coming at 4:30. And it's also been the week where we've said goodbye to Patrick Bamford, Ben Gibson. We've got Adama Traore in the departure lounge, and it looks like nobody's. Oh, we've got Andy Lonergan's come in, and we're waiting to see who else is coming in. So there's a lot.
Did he sing at My Old Man's a Dustman?
That might have been, my man. Yeah, could have been. But that's what's been happening. So I've got 2 home games coming up this week. I've got Sheffield United and the return of Gary Monk on Saturday with Birmingham. So like I say, there's a lot to fit in this next half hour. So first of all, lads, I'll come to you, Guesty. Millwall Saturday. When you saw the opening lineup. The team that was set out by Tony Pulis. What did you think?
Don't swear.
For a first game of the season, away to Millwall, you could see why Pulis had done it. You know, let's get in and out of here with a point.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looked like on paper, and it also, when you looked at it on paper, it's not a team that way you thought, I'm going to be stood up for 90 minutes shouting this team home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't the most inspiring team to look at on paper.
Do you think it was predictable, Foxy? Would you have guessed before that team came out at 2 o'clock that that's what he was going to go with on Saturday?
I mean, yeah, it's a hard one to say that because I don't think he knew what his team was going to be. I think, like Guesty's just rightly said there, there was no way we were going there to try and smash them, win hands down. There was no real drive or there's been no creativity for a while, but they just looked as if, like Guesty said, that get out of here with a point. I thought he had 0-0 written all over it, I'll be honest, but get out of here with a point and we'll be happy. But it's not a good way to start your season. It's a negative spin already.
To be honest, fair play to Tony Pulis. He is a bit in limbo at the moment till Thursday, till he knows what he's going with.
Things that are beyond his control, aren't they?
You know what I mean?
But as we've discussed on here before, that just shouldn't be happening with the whole club in general. You should have some sort of plan where you know who's coming in, when they're coming in. And I know players change their minds left, right and centre, but you kind of should have an idea of what you're letting. For me, we're letting a lot go before we've got anything coming in, and it's kind of, there's no plan to that. So how can he, no matter what you think of the guy, how can he then even have an idea of where he's going? Or,
can we come back to this in a little bit? So I'll talk about the match first, and then we'll talk about the transfer thing. Because I think there's a few different theories going around at the minute. Who's to blame for this? Where the club's going wrong? Well, so we'll talk about this, I think, in a little bit more depth.
As far as the match goes, Hutchie, it was, at least we've come back from 2-0 down, which is fighting the team, but we've seen that all pre-season with conceding leads and not being able to sort of get your act together with a game, which is bad habits, worrying.
AJ, mate, I mean, do you think it's too simple to say the change came about when Clayton and Ledbetter went off and they were replaced by Tavernier and Wing? Or do you think that was what provoked the change in the game, bringing those lads on, then Fletcher?
I think that change, it had to be made.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, I think everyone before the game said, why aren't these kids starting? And, you know, I said after the pre-season interviews and all that, the lads that impressed me were the likes of Wing, the likes of Fletcher.
Yeah.
Chapman, obviously, not having his way with the England squad. And if that isn't like proof enough of how good he is, then what else has he got to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry, AJ, I can see why he didn't start with them.
Yes.
No, of course I can see why
they could have been destroyed that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
With the way Millwall play. You know
High
what I mean?
tempo, they get in your face.
Yeah, and them lads could have been destroyed.
But
but you're never going to find out until you put them in there as well.
And the thing that we're missing, and we have been for a while, is energy, which they give us. I think Guesty's right to say that he should maybe.
When he came on.
He was. I think you're right to say to not start him. And I think the heads that he played, experienced players to sort of see where we're at with this game. And then, but the minute we needed a bit of pace, a bit of energy, a bit of creativity, they frightened the hell out of them when they came on. But like you say, starting we could have got railroaded with them because it could have been a baptism of fire. But you've got to shock people in at some time.
Yeah, go on, AJ, mate.
Especially when Fletcher came on and sort of like the formation sort of changed. It looked like Assam Belongo seemed a bit more like...
Because he had someone working with him in tandem and he wasn't on his own. He was just totally cut off from the rest of the team before then.
Johnny Howson was a different player.
Yeah.
It freed Johnny Howson up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you say, they came on, they played with the freedom of youth, if you like, and it freed Johnny Howson up. And like you say, he looked a different player.
Well, that's his natural position, isn't it? An attacking midfield role, which he's been suffocated a little bit by never getting that chance a lot. He's played it a little bit in pre-season, hasn't he? But
Because I think it was all very predictable before then, wasn't it? The first half was just, you could read everything that was going, and
You were all over us.
Yeah.
Right off.
What were your thoughts, James, when you seen it?
the team, I thought, if we come out with here with a 0-0, I couldn't see. I thought the only way we would score is through a set piece, either a free kick or from a corner. But I thought we're not going to trouble them in open play because we don't have the pace, we don't have the creativity. Assombalonga's on his own working it, and what you're going to get. I just thought we'd be very lucky to get a point, and then when you went 2-0 down,
we do have long throws, so I mean that's always. I mean I don't know what number 10 that is, but
the thing is, it creates panic, doesn't it? And that's what happens to the 2 goals we scored. Really, we're just lumping the ball in, and we've got 2 goals.
You're right, and there is a place for it in the game, but when you're relying on it in the last 10 minutes, it's worrying because other teams will get smart with that if that's our only outlet. If moving forward no one signs.
It's very difficult to defend against them throws.
Yeah,
like
completely.
It's been a purest tactic for years.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it does work.
Just worrying that that's the only thing that we've got right now.
But I think we all agree it was a bit of a bullet dodge there on Saturday, and we picked up a very fortunate point. But like I say, my heart bleeds for Millwall. I'm devastated.
I agree with that. As a Millwall fan, and you must be fuming. And Harris came out after the game and said, "What a great team Boro are." And I thought he's actually just said that because he's trying to make the defeat seem a little bit more bearable. Because really, it'll
have felt like a defeat. With a draw.
They should have had 3, shouldn't they, before we scored?
That was Boro, wouldn't you? You know what I mean, 2-0 up. What, 3 minutes to go to stoppages. Yeah. Away 2-2.
What was worrying? The most worrying part about Saturday was the way the back 4 performed. Obviously Gibson's gone. I thought them 4 at the back, all that experience, all that game time,
very slow,
and it was very we were.
I feel a bit
even before they scored their big centre half, the number 5, he had 2 clear free headers at the back post, and the writing was on the wall really.
I think I felt a bit for Flynn because it's obviously his first game in. There's a lot expected on him because we've spent money. He had a good season last year with Bristol City. And he's obviously spent a lot of pre-season with Gibson. Gibson's gone. You've got a young lad there in Fry who's full of potential, up there, but they've been more or less thrown in together there. And I think you can understand why there was a few mistakes made on Saturday.
Does that not worry you guys as well? You know, that maybe there's been a talk of Gibson going all pre-season, whether it's to Leicester or wherever it's to be, and I think that a smarter person would have purposely paired other people up together, thinking, if Gibson does go, I've got a partnership already brewing. If he doesn't go, he can slot in because he has done before, he knows what he's doing. Flint, as you say, not his fault. We saw Ayala make a similar mistake against Wolves last season, and obviously we didn't get away with that. But I wouldn't put any pressure on Flint, he's good, but the worrying thing for me is when we've got 3 defensive-minded people in charge of the club, Pulis, Woodgate and Fleming, and we can't defend to save our lives. I don't think there needs to be anybody trying to defend that. Any lawyer in the country couldn't defend why we can't get defending right when we're all about defensive coaches. That's the worrying thing for me, and that's why when people say what you're being negative for, it's not. We're not changing bad habits.
Well, like I say, we'll move on from Millwall now, and obviously there's a lot of feeling at the moment of negativity and a lot of people concerned about the direction that the club's going in terms of the transfer policy and things like that. I think it's clear that there's a lot of anxiety and unhappiness around the club at the moment with regards to the transfer business. Do you think it's justified, AJ?
I just think the way we've gone about the transfer business is not very well. You know, I mean, brought in a free agent goalkeeper that I don't think we needed, because at the minute now we've got 4 goalkeepers, is it?
I don't think he's a bad keeper. I know that's a separate issue, but
I don't see the point.
You don't sell attacking players and bring a keeper in.
I don't see the point in bringing him in. Obviously, you know what I mean. I'm not trying to disrespect the goalkeeper because I seen him play once. That was last season against Boro for Leeds.
Oh, really?
Do you know what I mean? That was the only game I've seen him play in, and apart from that, I've heard the Leeds fans say he was absolutely awful.
Right.
So, and then you look at the other 2 there. He's not even fit yet, which is a joke in itself, because of course we
is he unfit because he's got a pull or a knock? Is that just his way? Or is he just not match fit? Is that what we're saying here?
Well, they said
he played nearly every minute. He played.
They just said he's not fit.
Right.
Which shocked me because I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on?
He's not elaborate on that slightly.
I don't think he's not fit. To play, he must be.
He's picked up a knock.
He's picked up a knock or a strain.
And even Flint, I think Flint for me, I was such a big fan of him in Bristol City. I still am. But for me, so far in pre-season and obviously Saturday, he hasn't been that player that I thought he was. You know what I mean?
Do you think our transfer policy this summer has been dictated to by what happened last summer? And I know we spoke about this before about spending money
a little bit.
And I think Tony Pulis came out with a comment on Saturday which I thought was interesting. Where he said, "I don't throw mud at walls," and he said, "I am not going to spend bringing money on 13 players for only 2 of them to work out, which is a clear indication about what happened last summer. And I know we've said about gambling and this, that and the other, but the club, I don't think, are in a position to gamble because they've still got players on the wage bill down there which they can't shift.
You're totally right, but I think that when there's a player that's worth buying, you buy him, and I just think that that's totally right. But if you're going to need to spend 15 million on someone who's proven in this league and will either score goals or create goals or can defend, then you spend that money and you can't go, well, I tell you what, last season we got burnt because it's a brand new guy. I understand Pulis wants to balance the books, which is fine. But realistically, we're not exactly a club who are about to go out of business. We were 2 million in the black from last season, really, because of the parachute payments and the money that we brought in. So we technically didn't really spend that much money last season. We were still in profit. So for me, yes, if we were a club struggling in this league that needed to balance books, but where does the ambition go? Do we go, we've been burnt last year, so now we struggle? We've had players in within that, for me, Fletcher that we talked about in here, 7 million, that is a good signing if they give him a chance. So that you've recouped 9 almost there because of the 2 million you're in deficit. I just think that that's not going to... You have to... Without going on and boring you all here, for me, the bottom line is if other clubs in this league weren't spending that much money to bring in decent players, then yes. But if you want to compete to get out of this league, and he's admitted himself the squad's not good enough, where's he going? He won't spend the money in one hand, but the next hand he's coming out and saying the players we've got aren't good enough. Yeah. That's a bit of a farce for me, really.
You had Pulis coming out when he first come, saying he wasn't going to spend no more Gibson's money. Obviously, he had a bee in his bonnet when he first come about the money that had been wasted. You're most probably looking at a similar scenario to what Mourinho's got. Pulis is getting a lot of stick here. I'm not defending the man, but he's getting a lot of stick here, and he's most probably got a similar situation to what Mourinho has at Man United. He's most probably gone to Bowser with a list of names.
And they don't want to know, do
I
they?
want these players. And all these signings now at these clubs, no manager runs the club now.
No.
They all have...
Pulis doesn't go out there and say, I want this player to another club.
No, it's up to them. He gives
them
the names.
They've got to make the deal,
and they've got to sell the club to these players. And like you say, Waghorn has chosen Derby over Boro. That's down to the people selling the club.
Yeah, it is totally.
And it's got nothing to do with Pulis.
It's totally, but also it's got to have something to do with Pulis as well, I think, because you think, well, I want to play for that guy. But you're right, I mean, obviously, but I just think for me this is kind of a catch-22 situation where if your manager hasn't come out and said the team's not good enough, and I tell you what, if they come out and start the season and say, look, Boro fans, what's going to happen this year is we're probably going to stagnate a little bit. We ain't going to go up with the team we've got. We're going to draft some kids in. We're going to try and build something for the next season. Sorry, guys, it's going to be a poor season. A lot of Boro fans will be fuming, but they'll come back and say, right, all right, we haven't got money, we'll still support you because that's what we like.
I don't think they will, mate. I don't think they will.
I'd like to think that they would, though.
If you go by message boards and what's on site for the last few weeks, Boro fans are not going to stand up because they expect us to be in the Premier League,
all right,
rightly or wrongly. They think we're a Premier League club.
That's fair enough, but what the situation is now is that we're kind of saying that in a different type of way. We're not spending it on him. We're not going to spend it on him. The players that we've been linked to, we're not going to be able to sign. So really what they're kind of doing is they're kind of saying it from a completely different point of view, that we ain't going to back anyone, we ain't going to spend any money because we ain't got any money coming in, but at the same time, we're not going to tell you we're going to have an average season with the squad we've got. But so where we at, we either come out and back him or we don't back him. I just think either way, there's fickle fans no matter where you go, and there's fans that know the stuff. And for me, the way the club are going about it now, by looking as if we're going to sign him but we won't, that's just as annoying as a Boro fan.
I think there's been a few transfer windows now where we've had poor transfer windows, haven't we?
We've had this since Karanka.
Yeah. We haven't had very many good transfer windows since then. I think the one in... Well,
was Monk, obviously.
Last year, that was a disaster, but the one before that, the winter one, when we were in the Premier League, that sealed our fate to getting relegated, that one.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Again, who's the common denominator
when
in all
we were
this?
10th. Yeah.
Well, it's not the manager. So we'll move on a little bit. Ben Gibson obviously left at the weekend, AJ. He went to Burnley for a fee for around about 15 million's being quoted. Do you think it's a good bit of business by the club?
I mean, money-wise, it's money coming in. But I don't see what the attraction is in Burnley.
I think it's Premier League football.
I think it looks like
regular Premier
Sean
League
Dyche's a good manager. I think he improves players.
I look at Burnley itself and I think it looks like a South Coronation Street. But
I agree with you, AJ. These clubs are smaller than Boro, but they've got bigger ambitions.
Yeah, that's totally right.
They're taking our best players, AJ.
That would never have happened 3 or 4 years
Burnley,
ago.
what's attracted him there is the Premier League and Europa League at the minute because they're still in it.
And obviously, look what Sean Dyche's done for Tarkowski.
Yeah.
And obviously, and all of that defence, they had the best interception, they had the best tackle rate in the whole of any two centre backs in the whole of Europe last year, up until Christmas. Yeah. And so this guy improves players because they've gone up, they've come down, they've gone up again, and he's improved the players that he's got.
It did look weird seeing him in a Burnley shirt and that. But listen, I mean,
he had a hell of a neck on him.
Do you know what I mean? You
see that neck for Boro.
Last season he could have gone.
Yeah.
And he stayed loyal with us.
Yes, yeah.
And he did say it, didn't he, enough, Boro don't go up this season. I mean, this season
you wouldn't have been surprised if he'd have left last summer.
I haven't got a problem with Gibson going. I think, like you said, he's trying to be loyal and he's just maybe thought, whatever he sees in that club now...
Everyone was playing the top league.
Well, he is, but whatever he sees in that...
The league's on offer there and whatnot.
That's right. And whatever he sees in that club and whatever like the likes of Bezic you've seen who don't want to come back, there's something not right there. Otherwise, people will go, you know what, I'll give it another season. We're going up.
I think he's just young and he
yeah, I think he's maybe he's 26 now, and I think he thinks, do you know what, I've got to go up to the Premier League. And if you look, I liken Burnley, maybe it was just over 10 years ago when we were in Europe. And you got to think, we're not the most glamorous club, but we were definitely punching above our weight. Regular Premier League, this is their third year in a row, 4 out of 5 that have been in the Premier League. They look pretty solid. Like you said, they've got a manager there, whether you like him or loathe him.
They're
He's doing a good job. Yeah, they've got it all right there. So do you know what? He's going to go there and probably get lots of game time. Whereas if he'd have gone to maybe another club in the Premier League, he wouldn't have. It's a good move for him.
I think he's gone to establish himself in the Premiership, like you say, where he's got maybe a chance to get into an England team. But I just think, as Guesty said there, and you said, I would agree with that 5-6 years ago, we'd never have lost a player to a club like that. It almost goes back to the days of, even though I rate this guy out the park, and he'll give me stick for it, Lenny Lawrence, when Rob Lee went to sign for Newcastle and he wouldn't come to Boro, and we were in the Premier League, and he said, you know what, I'll go to a club with more. And it's kind of reminds me of that kind of thing again, where there's something wrong at the club, and it doesn't matter, like you say, how much
plans and all that, isn't it, when they get told these things and whatnot. But
I don't know. I think the thing with that situation with Rob Lee was, I think players were falling over themselves to start for Kevin Keegan.
Well, they were, of course, and you know that's
a
massive thing. But I'm just saying, it kind of feels a little bit like where we still got a bit of pull, but players just think, well, nah.
And that's maybe what's happening now with Derby, with the situation with Wagon. Someone wants to say, I'll play for Frank Lampard.
Totally.
But that's no disrespect to Tony Pulis or anyone, but if someone like Frank Lampard comes calling or someone like that, you're going to think...
But is it something then, a reflection on Tony Pulis then? Because surely somebody's personality should make you think, well, I want to play for that guy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Doesn't matter how much we defend this. I am not Tony Pulis' biggest fan, but he's a great man manager. And I'm not just going to be negative for the sake of it, but... And he's a great guy. He's a great guy whenever you see him speak or as a person. But whatever it is in there, his players don't fancy it. And now we've been linked with Walters, Charlie Adam and Bardsley today as well. I'll take Charlie Adam.
There's going to be some queue at the post office.
Well, Neil,
isn't there though?
I think Neil Bowser's going to be very busy this week. And like I say,
he is, mate.
Yeah, I still think got faith in Pulis to do this job. He's been brought here to do a job, and I think he'll certainly have us challenging for promotion by the end of the season. Anyway, we'll Adama Traore, we'll just quickly mention that. Obviously, it looks like he's on his way to Wolves as well. Yeah. He's going to be a big ask to replace. I don't think you can replace him like for like in any sort of way. So it's going to be sort of players that are going to fit into the type of play that we're going to be.
Do you feel if maybe we take Traore out of the equation and we bring 3 players in of attacking ilk, another thing, that we may be more of a team this year?
Yeah.
And we saw it against Sheffield United away when he went off.
Yeah.
And we had more of a team performance because I think other people look at that and think, right, well, I need to have the ball, I need to show up here. Yeah. Whereas when you give it to him, you think, well, he's brilliant. I know he's going to skim 5 people.
Yeah.
So I'll just stand back a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be a positive, although I'd still love to see him in my team and to build a team round him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm taking a positive out of it. There is a way.
There's going to be life after him going, isn't there, Guesty? Yeah.
Up until Pulis came, like you say, last season he didn't get a kick till the window'd shut. And then he was in and out, and Monk didn't like him.
No.
He never got a kick till Pulis come in. Monk had the same players as what we have there, but Monk still had us in and around the playoff area without Traore as a regular in the team.
Yeah.
Monk's come in, and it's only over the last 6 months. Pulis has come in, and it's only over the last 6 months where Traore has become the most important thing to Boro ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you're right. We were 3 points off the playoffs when
we get
Monk
what,
left.
20 million or 26 million. It's good business for the club.
Yeah.
It's good for the lad. He's similar to Gibson. He's had his head turned.
You can't blame them, can you?
He's been in and around the Spain squads.
Yeah.
But like you say, I've just said earlier, Wolves, you know, great tradition, great history, but it's a smaller club than us, showing, like you say,
it's just Premier League, though, isn't it? I think once you've got Premier League behind you, you can more or less get any players from the Championship.
I believe he should have done what Pulis said to the kid, stick it out with us till
get to a top 6 team.
And a big 6 team, and I think that would have been fact.
I think Wolves are a bigger team than us, and I hate to say it.
It's just been, like you say, we've been privileged to see him, and he is going to go on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
And Santos will improve him. What they did in the Championship for me last season was remarkable. They were fantastic to watch.
Yeah. Well,
but it's still hard to say, it's still hard to take.
Yeah, well, it is.
Because we should be that team where we go, we've got a gem here, let's bust everything, let's build a team around this guy.
Wolves had a nasty side as well, Foxy.
They had everything, that's what you need.
They did when they played us, Guesty, because they had to have, because they knew they were going to get a game with us, and they knew we were going to rough them up, but they still roughed us up. You know, we had 9 men and we get beat 2-1 at home against a team, I just thought that was the mark of the end for us with that game.
So anyway, we've had all this aside, and we're, obviously Borofantv are a little bit unhappy with things at the moment, but we've started off the season with a point away at Millwall, which is never a bad result.
No, not at all.
It's a decent result, so we're off and running with that. We've got 2 home games to come now, so hopefully we can build up a bit of momentum, starting with Sheffield United tomorrow, AJ. Now, 2 hard-fought battles with them last season. 2 tough games, and they'll be wanting to bounce back after losing at home to Swansea at the weekend.
Of course, mate,
what you're expecting tomorrow night?
I'm expecting a really tough game.
Yeah.
I mean, last season, especially Riverside, you know what I mean, I underestimated them, and I'll be completely honest. You know, coming from League One, coming to us, and I thought, you know what it is, maybe Boro will just take these 3-0, you know, just as you do. You know, but they came down with a game plan, mate, and I thought, you know, I thought they were very unlucky not to come out with something in that game.
Yeah.
Well, they had an offside goal, didn't they, last minute, was it? Last couple.
Yeah. And then obviously their place in 30 seconds, mate, they're 1-0 up, and it's like,
they're
a very, very good team. Chris Wilder's got them playing how he wants them to play.
3-5-2.
You know, and I think in there, obviously, I think so far they brought in some cracking players, including Woodburn.
On loan. Brilliant left winger.
That's just one of the players that I've seen.
Henderson, the keeper, on loan from was it Liverpool or Manchester United or somewhere? I think it's Manchester United. Highly rated goalkeeper. Even like some of Goldrick, journeyman.
Yeah,
he does it in the Championship, doesn't he?
They've got, you know, Billy Sharp in front as well. Clark's up there with him. You know what I mean? They've got a team full of goal scorers in my opinion.
Very neat around the box, very compact.
You know, the midfield, it's hard to get through the defence. You know, so Chris Wilder, I rate him highly, and especially as Championship manager.
Yeah.
Because what he's done at Sheffield United there, you know what I mean? And you watch him last season, nobody expected them to maybe be up there at one point. No one expected that to happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of them where I think tomorrow night, listen, it's going to be tough, but again, it almost comes down to how much do you want it every single game, and it's about giving it 100%, because you know for a fact, a team of Sheffield United, nobody's going to expect them to do anything. So you know for a fact that they're going to come down here tomorrow night, mate, and they're going to come down with a game plan. They're going to try and execute it.
Yeah. Well, mate.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, Guesty, it's the return of Gary Monk with Birmingham City.
Yeah.
What sort of reception do you think he's going to get?
Similar to what AJ, you'll get at Leeds.
Probably a bit more friendly at Leeds for AJ, to be honest.
I just hope it's, like you say, he's a human being. I witnessed it last season when he went back to Ellen Road.
He got dogs abused.
And it just goes beyond banter. It was abuse, you know what I mean? Anywhere else in the shopping centre, you'd get locked up for it.
Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't say that.
But like you say, I just thought he's going to get it. You know what I mean? But he's got his hands tied already. He's got a difficult job on his hands. Like some people might say, he deserves it. But like you say,
see what it brings.
He didn't ask to get sacked, did he?
No. I think Pulis will say something to one about signing all them players.
Well, I think he's already started referring to it about what he said.
Has he really?
Yeah, like you say, he made that comment the other day about I don't throw mud at the wall, and I don't sign 13 players and expect 2 to work out.
Do you not think he's covering himself a little bit there, though? Do you think that's a little bit poor, though? Because I think from Pulis to come out and go, well, actually, what he's saying there is, my team's not good enough already. Without saying it, he's saying these players are garbage and I can't do that with them. And I don't think they're all garbage. No, I genuinely don't.
Foxy, you've got to look at it. He's a wily old fox, right? Like Ferguson was, they'll come out and they'll talk in
riddles. It winds up in it. I get that.
Psychology.
Of course it is.
Psychology, and
it's banter in it. I know that.
You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. What comes out the manager's mouth.
And I think if you're being brutally honest, it isn't good enough at the minute.
Oh no, but it hasn't been. We thought that all season last year,
and it wasn't good enough last season. And for all we're all upset about the likes of Gibson going, Bamford going, Traore going. We didn't get promoted last year with those players in that team. So it does need a change of emphasis and approach because that team didn't take us up.
But is it down to those players we never went up, or is it down to the fact we didn't have any other decent players or another way of playing?
It's down to them, we never got up.
I don't agree with that.
I think players get off too easy nowadays. Responsibilities moved from players.
You can't pass the responsibility on the players we haven't got.
No, I agree, but Traore and Bamford on their own put us into 5th, right? And you yourself saying to me that without them in your team we're better. I don't agree with that.
No, I think there'll be players coming in,
and I think
with a replacement, I think we could be a better team this year. Individuals might not get you out of this league. I think a team as Cardiff proved last year will get you out, and it doesn't have to be a great
we seen Traore at Brentford last season away. He went missing. He scored a goal. Fair dues. He scored.
Fair,
but
it's true that.
He was non-existent.
I know that, right? And I know that. But I just think
Bamford comes to life.
So I can't.
For 5 or 6 games, and then he goes missing again.
But Bamford played up front on his own
because of Bamford and Traore.
No, but you just saying it in the other way that with those players weren't good enough to get us promoted. I think those players staying with the addition of some more good players. Yes, we've got a squad. Yes, we've got other ways of playing. Yes, it's not all about Traore. But to let 2 good players go and go. Well, I tell you what, we bring Waghorn in and Brian. I mean, that's just mental for me.
Well, if we don't replace any of the players that have gone now, if we stay as we are now, yes, we're a worse team and squad than we were last year. But what you've got to do is you've got to think is players are going to come in. I'd like to see these young lads get a go.
I totally agree with that.
Tavernier, Wing,
It's all about
Chapman. These lads have got to be given a try.
But they could have had a game with.
Could be the best thing that could happen.
Yeah,
it could have. But they could have got a game with Traore and Bamford still in that squad. Quite happily. I just think left wing's been a problem for a while with Stewie Downing. I know you don't like the way of that, but it's been a problem for a while.
I'll agree on Saturday.
But at the end of the day, mate.
No, I know. And
on Saturday, I thought Stewie Downing was.
Wing could be the job there. And Harry Chapman, we've missed a creative centre midfielder for a long time. So there's no reason why they couldn't have slotted head of Clayton, head of House, and whoever you want to put in there. And yet now we're kind of trying to backtrack and go, well, actually, those players never got promoted. The manager never got us promoted. The manager had no ideas against Aston Villa. We had 1 shot on goal in 190 minutes. That's not just down to the players, although I totally take your point. Players have got to take responsibility. But if they're not getting the right direction, or they don't want to play for the manager, or they don't know what, that's also a big part of it.
And if they don't want to be at the club, you can't keep them.
No, and I agree with that, but I don't think Bamford's head was turned last season. Maybe Traore's was.
Bamford's head's never been at the club, Foxy. It wasn't last season, the season before, when him and Stewie Downing had been told to stay as far away as possible from the club when they'd been carrying on. And I don't know whether it was Karanka or the baldy fella who chased him away.
The alien.
So Bamford for me has always been a big time Charlie. He's always thought he's been good enough to play for Chelsea, and he's always had a face on. Now obviously he's gone to Leeds, big money, and sat on the bench for 90 minutes. So
but he scored
for me,
goals
I'd never wanted Bamford to come back. I never wanted Bamford in the team. I've never ever rated him, even though people keep reminding me he was the Championship Player of the Year in 2015. Whoop-de-doo.
So was Darren Huckabee.
Exactly. So let's get a grip.
I mean, that's if that's your example there, I'm going to kindly disagree with all that.
We're not talking about Giannini, Ravanelli, Emerson leaving the club.
We weren't saying this last season when he was scoring goals, were we? We weren't saying this when he got to Sunderland, scored a great little volley or 3 against. No one sat here was saying that last season. So for me now to go, well, I tell you what, he's never wanted to play. I don't agree because he did.
I think I was.
He did. Well, you might have, Mr. Guest, you might have, but he wanted to play for us, or he wouldn't have. It's as simple as that. But now we could be minus a Sombalonga as well.
It's like a milkman delivering milk. He doesn't really want to, but he has to.
No, I don't agree with that.
So, lads, we've got 2 games this week. Sheffield United, Birmingham. What do you think in terms? I'll just ask you for a number. Give us a number. How many points are we going to get from those 2 games?
AJ?
4. I think a draw tomorrow night would be, a decent result. And Saturday, realistically, no disrespect to Birmingham, but we've got to see a win.
Really
I'm going to say, if that team starts tomorrow night, minus the kids, then I'm going to say we get beat, and I'll say we'll beat Birmingham on Saturday because it won't continue. So I'm going to say conservative 3, but I hope I'm wrong and it's 6.
Right.
Sheffield United played us off the park twice last season. Home and away, and we got away with a win at home. Like you say, they had the momentum last season when they came to the Riverside. They'd just come up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've had a good season last season. Started with a defeat on Saturday.
Against the Swansea team, looked really good, didn't they?
So, like you say, I was the mad Boro fan going with me. I can't see past 6 points.
Good man. Rob, what do you reckon, mate?
1.
1? Oh, God, no, not 1.
And that'll be against Birmingham.
Yeah, there we go.
No, I fancy us. I fancy us for at least 4, if not 6.
Yeah, I reckon four. I reckon 4.
I just can't
I
see
agree with Gesso. Last season, Sheffield United did play us off the park twice. They were unbelievable.
Obviously, they've had a bad opening
Billy
against
Sharp
Swansea.
Against us.
Yeah, but Swansea looked really good for me out of the weekend's games. They're the team that I think looked brilliant. The football they scored the first goal.
Yeah. What I will say is, to judge things on one game, it's a lot. I mean, I know Leeds United have already booked the open top bus.
Have they really?
When we're there in September, that's going to be going around with the Championship trophy. So, like I said, you can't say too much about what goes on in one game. There's an awful lot to be played between now and next May. What I will say is, and I just think it's been evident from our conversation here and all through the day, we all have different views, different opinions, but I think it's important, if you're at the game tomorrow, if you're lucky enough to be there, support those lads that are wearing the red and white shirt.
Slag them off when the whistle goes if you have to.
Get behind it.
There's people in that stadium who would go watch Middlesbrough if they were playing on Stewart's Park. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's our club.
Yeah.
Them players come and go, but that club stays where it is.
Yeah.
We stay where we are. We can't change now.
No.
So, like you say, let's get behind it.
Same fans who've Boro won 9-0 tomorrow night and find a reason why. Just don't wait. Like you say, you either want to support them or you don't.
You need a positive tomorrow. You know what I mean? You need a noise.
Yeah.
If we can't see tomorrow, let's not boo the players.
No, let's get behind them until the 90 minutes have gone.
It's about getting behind.
If nothing else, they show that they've got character and a bit of fighting spirit about them. As bad as it was for 65, 70 minutes on Saturday, they somehow hung in there and they ended up coming away with a 2-2 draw. So there is some character in that team. Even though some of those players might not be starting in a month's time, there's still some character and some fight in that team. So give them that. Back them tomorrow night. Support them on Tuesday and next Saturday.
And
we stick together.
Your opinions.
Yeah,
please do. Yeah.
See the lads will be outside the ground before and after the game, both
We're
tomorrow
not aliens.
and
We
Saturday.
are Boro fans. We go to every game home and away, and it's the people's chance to come and air their thoughts about the game, about what's happening at the club. And we're there every game, and like you say, everybody's welcome.
And that won't stop anytime soon.
No, and everyone bring a jailer key, because we might need it tomorrow night to get out of jail.
And anyway, see the lads tomorrow. Keep an eye out for Foxy's match previews as well during the week.
Keep an eye out for his trousers.
They've gone missing.
Their last usually has them on.
Somebody please. But there speaks the voice of someone who's experienced that for the last 30 years there. Normally he wears dungarees though.
It's that bloke who was in Angels the other week.
How to tell you what, the legend. I think he's got my trousers down, to be fair.
Hopefully the weekend will bring 6 points for the Boro.
Come on, up the Boro.
And Tony Pulis can deliver us promotion back to the Premier League. Like, subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of that, guys. Until next week, up the Boro.
See you there. Peace out, guys.